Hi, this is our presentation on the impacts of engineering solutions. We are going to talk about Envision today. My name is Christopher Harquill.
I'm Sunny.
My name is Yatharth Shukla.
And I'm Andrew O'Grady.
So what is Envision? Envision is a sustainable infrastructure rating system that is used to judge the sustainability of different infrastructures that are built. Envision can be used as either a planning or design tool for engineers to assess the project on how well it can meet the ability of the triple bottom line, which is the environmental, economic, and social aspects of a project. The way Envision is broken down is it's broken down into 5 different categories. Those 5 categories are the quality of life, leadership, resource allocation, the natural world, and climate and risk. These 5 categories are assessed using what is called a higher level of achievement. The highest level of achievement is known as restorative. The restorative level has the ability of actually giving back to the community and the environment. It has the restoration of resources, ecological, economic, and social systems. The level right below that is called conserving. This is just a project that has 0 negative impacts during construction. And going down the list all the way down to conventional, which is just the regular state of the practice, meaning it really doesn't give back or have anything different than what a normal construction project would. If executed properly, Envision has the ability to give a lot to a project. It can give things such as saving owners money and time through efficiency of the project, as well as giving back to the environment and the community.
So one project in particular that we looked at was the Central Artery Tunnel project, which took place in Boston, Massachusetts. And it turned out to be one of the most expensive highways in our nation's history. And the project consisted of the demolition of the current existing central highway that ran straight through the center of Boston and was replaced with an underground tunnel with the intentions of being able to support a higher volume of traffic. So one of the categories is leadership. And this category exists to ensure the healthy management practices that goes on with large-scale projects like the Central Artery Tunnel project. The efforts include to reduce energy, water uses, pollutions, and many other resources that are involved on the projects. And this category is further broken down into 3 subcategories: collaboration, which deals with the complex relationships; management, which deals with managing the different parties involved in these relationships; and planning, which is the broad scope of the project and making sure that it goes in the right direction and to minimize flaws and errors. And it's pretty safe to say that the Central Artery Tunnel project would not have scored well in this category due to poor collaboration and countless errors that led to billions of dollars spent on reimbursement fees. And this eventually led to the project being finished a decade overdue and costing more than 3 times the original cost estimates. Another category is climate and risk, and this deals with harmful emissions that occur during all phases of the project, like greenhouse gases and pollutants that can affect the natural climate. And the other part that this category deals with is short-term risks like floods and fires and sea level changes, and the project's ability to be resilient to these sort of natural forces. And the end goal of this category is to minimize pollution and maximize the life cycle of the project. And it's kind of difficult to say how well the Central Artery project would have done in this category, because although with the new tunnel there was less stop and go traffic, because the highway was bigger and now supports a higher volume of traffic, so there still is a questionable amount whether the net carbon emissions were decreased or increased. And it is also a fairly new project, so the resilience of it hasn't quite been tested yet.
So the project that I researched on, which I think qualifies for Envision categories, is the Kansas City Streetcar. This is a transit system located in Kansas City, Missouri. The project took a total of 5 years from the planning stage to the completion of construction, and it cost about $102 million. The transit system itself is 2.2 miles long and is located in North Main Street of Kansas City, which connects River City Mall and Union Station. The designer for this project was HDR Incorporation. HDR is a firm which already has a lot of recognized Envision projects, and it's state funded. And the purpose of this project was there's a lot of traffic congestion in this area. Annually, around 10 million people visit this area, and there was a need for this kind of project. There's been a public satisfaction, meaning in the last 5 months since it has been open, over 1 million people have wrote this. So one of the categories for Envision is quality of life, which encourages development and also improves connectivity between the local people. This project itself reduced traffic significantly because of people prefer to ride this over cars. It also encouraged development. There have been a total of 40 different development projects because of this, which will total about $1.8 billion in economic growth. It also improves connectivity because it's located from River City Mall to Union Station. So there's a connection between these two different sections, which wasn't possible before without going through all that congestion, and people preferred not to go in that from one section to the other. There's also social interaction, because if you're in a public transit system, you're more likely to talk to the person next to you than if you're driving by yourself inside a car. Another category is resource allocation, which means to minimize any resources used on project as well as reuse and recycle materials. The concrete and asphalt that was torn up during this project was reused when they made the section and the project. There's also convenient design, which means it minimizes the use of material, and the design is very simple compared to a very bulky. The scrap metal that was used for tracks, about 845 tons of metal used, was scrap metal, which was recycled.
So one project that I think meets the restorative level of achievement in the Envision system will be the Port Covington Renewal Project. This is located in South Baltimore City in Maryland, and this is a mixed-use land development project. It's estimated to cost about $5.5 billion. It's going to take over 20 years to build. Started in 2016 and is being built by the general contractor Whiting Turner. It's mostly funded by Plank Industries, which is a company started by Kevin Plank, the owner and CEO of Under Armour. He's a Maryland native who really wants to redevelop this poor and failing sector of Maryland. This project has already gained $535 million of taxpayer money in the form of bonds. So this is a really big project for Maryland. I think that the Envision category that this project satisfies best would be the natural world. This project really aims to take a piece of land that has been for almost 80 years almost unusable, because in the past it was a very industrial area where they created steel and some other processes. These processes placed a lot of arsenic in the soil and contaminated the water in the surrounding areas. So what Plank Industries is trying to do with this project is they're going to put some caps in the soil to prevent this arsenic from reaching the surface so that it cannot harm people. Also, this capping in the soil will prevent surface and groundwater contamination. So this is all in the hopes that it's going to restore the disturbed soils and preserve the prime habitat, since this is a waterfront property. Furthermore, to preserve the water quality in this area, oyster beds are being planted along the shoreline to help filter the bay. This is all to help protect the wetlands.
Any questions?
That's it.